So, let's just pick the first part of the first verse. I thank my God. This is a personal statement. This isn't, I thank God. This isn't, isn't it wonderful, Lord? This isn't a kind of a statement which is unfamiliar with God. It's, I thank my God. I don't thank God in general. I thank my God. It's like me saying, I thank my dad. I thank my family, my relatives. Now, I got to spend time with my dad this week. Some of you will know him, some of you won't, I know. My dad has been the minister of this church in the past. And obviously, I followed him around when we moved to various places and was ministers in other areas. But my dad is somebody that I was blessed with. Not all of us have had good fathers, but I was blessed with a very good father. And so when I think of my dad, I don't think of, him getting upset with me and shouting and screaming at me and chasing me up the stairs and things like that. When I think of my dad, I think of my dad with great fondness. And the chance of being able to spend a week with my dad this week just filled me with great fondness. It's something that when you get to the age I am, and you don't live with your parents anymore, and you've got your own kids and your own wife and everything else, you don't live with your family anymore, you actually have an appreciation where previously you didn't have. It's the same with my brother. My brother and I used to fight all the time at home. Yeah? I remember him kicking me down the stairs once and waking up, having kind of blacked out at the bottom of the stairs, and he just swung his foot as I'd gotten to the top of the stairs, caught me right under the chin, and I remember waking up at the bottom, thinking, oh my goodness, how did I get down here? So all right, there's hope for you yet, Jack. You haven't quite done that to your sister yet. I remember picking my brother up once and throwing him across the room, and so getting quite angry with him. So brothers fight. But do you know what's interesting? I don't remember that stuff anymore when I think of my brother. When I think of my brother now, I'm filled with kind of a sense of joy and a sense of pride about all the great things that he's managed to achieve with his life and the difficult times that he had and how he's managed to pull himself out of it and pull himself through. And now he's a father of 4 kids, and he's out in the States, and he's got himself a lovely house, and he's doing really well in his job, and he's working really hard in his church. And I think of all of that stuff. And all of that rubbish, the turmoil, the difficult times and everything else just doesn't seem to be as important anymore. And that hasn't happened kind of naturally. That hasn't happened just because that was the way it was supposed to end up. That's happened because when you miss somebody, you have a choice. You can choose to out of sight, out of mind, or you can choose to be thankful for what you had and thankful for the times that you had with them. And I think this is one of the things that Paul is doing. Because remember, Paul's in prison. Right? He is not saying, I thank my God in all my remembrance of you, always offering a prayer in joy in every prayer for you. He's not saying that in the same way that having been away from a week and coming home, I thank God for my mattress. Because we bought a really nice mattress at home because Sonia's back was really bad. And I tell you what, the hotel mattress was nothing compared to the one we got at home. And when we were crawling and lying on your own bed, there's nothing like your own home and your own bed, and I would hate to say it, your own toilet. And you know what I mean, right? But he's not got his own church and his own bed and his own place and his own... It's not saying it from that perspective. And so he's saying it from I'm away from it and I have been separated it. Here we have Paul, who has had everything taken away from him. He doesn't have his family there. He doesn't have his friends there. He doesn't have security in there. He doesn't have the things that make life comfortable there. He doesn't have the TV shows that you enjoy there. He doesn't have access to the books he used to read or access to the synagogues he used to go to. He doesn't have the things that make life fun, the things that make life feel full, the things that make life enjoyable. The only thing he's got is memories of times when things were better and memories of times when things were going well and hearing about those he loves and hearing about how well they're doing and hearing about how they're getting on and the occasional bit of correspondence. He is out of sight, and they are out of his sight. But he is not out of their minds, and they are not out of his minds. And it's kind of nice when you read it and you read this, that here we have Paul appreciating the tiniest little moments that he has with these people, even if it's been correspondence by letter, because he didn't have email, didn't have telephone, couldn't look at an old photograph, didn't have any of that stuff. And he's remembering tiniest little moments. And it challenges me. It challenges me with this, that here we have Paul, the apostle, painting us a picture of the perfect church, which it would not have been. But it raises a question. We would all love our church to be the perfect church. Yeah? We would love our church to be the perfect church so that those that come feel loved. We would love our church to be the perfect church so that those that come feel like they belong. We would love our church to be the perfect church so that the pastor feels like he's giving a good sermon even when he's not. We would love our church to be the perfect church so that the people that run the children's work feel appreciated every time they come along and they do things. We would love it to be the perfect church so the people that don't know Jesus come in and just the second they've stepped over the mantle there, they find him. We would love our church to be the perfect church. And it's interesting that Paul seems to be painting this picture of the perfect church. I thank God in all my remembrance of you, always offering prayer with joy in my every prayer for you all. And it's almost like Paul prays into being that which he wants it to be. So he doesn't focus on the negative. He doesn't remember the negative. He doesn't regard the negative as important. He doesn't regard the fact that that person shut the door on you in the toilet and you were about to go in and they shut it behind them and they didn't hold it open for you. He doesn't remember the fact that that person did not shake your hand as you walked in and they should have. He doesn't remember the fact that the coffee was a bit cold or the biscuits were a bit kind of stale and off and they should have bought some new ones this week. He doesn't think of the fact that the pastor forgot your name. You know, it doesn't, because we're going to. It doesn't think of the fact that, the bread wasn't quite as good as it could have been. Or Jack was quite funny a little earlier on. He just turned around to me and says, Jesus is yummy. And I thought it was a good line. But it doesn't focus on the negative. It doesn't focus on whether the lighting's bright enough or the sound's bright enough or whether I talk loud enough or any of those things. It doesn't focus on the negative. He thanks God in all things for the people and in remembrance of the people, always offering a prayer with joy.